WGGMBUCC. A lyrical sculpture in the sand that I carved. This is Flash on the mic, now on the avant-garde. From 40 to 60, we are on the attack. If I can just get some vitamin I for my back. Foot on the line, yeah, I'm ready to go. Or did I just pull a muscle? Hold on for a moment. Play it cool, just act like I'm young. Got flicks on my wrist and lyrics on my tongue. 10 more years left to go. Tricks from the past and a buttery flow. A little slow off the start, I like to call my speed brisk. The sunshine glints off my slow-moving disc. You know how it goes with the sand between my toes. Got none to the pivots, but all the throws. Yeah, I got some dodgy knees. Disc in my hand and the sun in the sky. My dad bod goes jiggle and my hugs they fly. Spirits are rising like a disc on the breeze, going miles out of bounds to the Portuguese seas. Played a point, yeah, I need a sub and a good long soak in an XL tub. Don't need to run anymore, I'm one of 14 handlers. Happy Gilmore this disc like we're all Adam Sandlers. I'm slow off the start, I like to call it brisk. The sunshine glints on my slow-moving disc. You know how it goes with the sand between my toes. We got none of the pivots, but all the throws. Alright, let's finish this off. My 6'2" still works in the bar. I can see from miles. Got drinks on my radar. Portimao party is the place we flee. The friends we see in these great memories.
Theoretically, we're muted when this is on,
but I'm definitely. My knees that we're going to continue.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Better yet, carry me from the beach to the bar. Better yet to the sea. I'm slow off the start. I like to call my speed brisk. The sunshine glints off my slow-moving disc. You know how it goes with the sand between our toes. We got none of the pivots, but all of the throws.
Good morning and welcome to Sardinia for the World Great Grandmasters Beach Ultimate Club Championships, the greatest acronym in sports, WGGMBUCC. In front of us this morning, we've got the Saladitos taking on Sunset Crew, Spain versus Switzerland. Of course, there's a little bit of international flair in both of them. My name's Stefan Rapazzo, alongside John Dougherty, otherwise known as John Doc. Doc, how you doing this morning?
Not too bad now. Glad to be back here for another day. It was windy yesterday, but the conditions were nice. So looking forward to getting closer to the business end of this tournament now later in the day.
Saladitos in blue threw away the first throw, and that gives Sunset Crew a break opportunity on this, the very first point. Larov sends and finds Fayev for the goal. Sunset Crew break in about a minute.
Yeah, and potentially maybe what we might have expected if their scores yesterday or anything to go by. Sunset Crew 2-0, two pretty confident, comfortable victories, both by about 8 points. And on the other side, Saladitos, 2 losses, somewhat heavy losses yesterday, so we missed them on the stream yesterday, so we have them today. They'll at least be glad to get on the stream, and they'll be hoping that maybe yesterday's game was their bad game when it wasn't streamed, and they can try and get a slightly better performance today. But a tough start there, pretty quick break, and if both these teams were to push for it, you would imagine it could be similar to yesterday, because the scores would suggest that the Swiss have a sizable edge, but you never know. It's day 2.
Anything can happen, but we do take those results into account for sure when we assess these. And another quick turn, and just as quick with the break, Pedro Padilla on the assist. And for the goal, it was Eric Nelson, and just like that, it's 2-0, both breaks. Sunset Crew seem to be carrying their hot play. We're 2 minutes 37 seconds into this game, Doc. 2 breaks already.
Yeah, I think that one a little unfortunate. Just a bit of a drop, a bit of a underthrow on the early morning. Small bit of wind might take them a couple of minutes to get into the game. Both teams were here kind of warming up, doing their stretches as you'd expect early, so I don't think it's a case of they were all partying last night and just walked onto the fields. That's not at this stage yet, but 1 or 2 of their players did offer us alcoholic beverages yesterday, so maybe they are making sure they enjoy the social aspect of this tournament as much as anything else as well. So. Nice big brick there now. This will probably take as long as the first 2 points to get going.
But yeah, that's one way of extending the points. Bricked pulls. But it will be brought back in. We saw many of the Saladitos out last night. They were out at the Sardinia street food burger vendor. Gabby was there. He had the horse and then the sheep burger.
Yeah, I believe that was who I was saying was offering us beverages yesterday, which perhaps explains a bit of a slow start. Maybe it's been continued on through the night, but we'll see.
It was mostly food-based consumption, not drink-based consumption. There we go. We've got a completion for the Saladitos. And high, we're not going to get 3. That one swatted away by Lucas Smith. He'll pick up his own pieces. Smith goes around with the lefty. And then leads a high one. That's a floater, speculative. And as such, it gets picked off. Gabriele Isani with the disc. Couple fake swipes from Calzamiglia. And he gets a back low throw over to Schulter. Casamiglia to Sani. Casamiglia, and they're on the doorstep. And they are in. That one goes to, I believe it's Ann Schluter. And that's a goal for Saladitos.
Fancy bright blue. Is it Cyan sand socks? Haven't seen those before, but going to get a stat on the board there. And you can see there, the point took longer than the last 2 points, but much better there by Saladitos. Second time of asking, puts a couple of stringed a couple of passes together, looked a bit better, and maybe every point isn't going to be a quick break like the first two if this is anything to go by. So they get a chance to play some defense now, their first chance to do that. So
everybody loves defense.
But yeah, these is there's 2 more rounds. So yeah, we got 2 more rounds of games today before we get into the pre-quarters later today after the break. So teams here kind of pushing to get their finishing positions in the group. So one of these teams currently top, the other currently bottom.
Nelson jacks it deep, looking for Padilla, but great defense. Layout by both players, but it's Pierangeli who gets the D. And Saladitos get a break chance.
Yeah, looking to tie it up here. Which would be somewhat funny given how quick the first 2 breaks went in if they were to have both these points take longer than the entire game so far and get level.
Pierangeli from his end zone has to hammer, and that is to no avail. Picked up far sideline. The around and in. That looks good. Right in the corner, Doc, for the goal. Trying to get the license plate on that one. I think that's the 71 shirt. Nelson for the goal. Sunset Crew 3-1.
Yeah, 2 nice around backhands, and again only a small bit of win, but making the throws look easy again, and good focus. We haven't seen maybe everyone getting as low and around on those throws, and maybe you can start to see a bit more why this Swiss group has shown that they're undefeated so far. But they did give up a turn, so it's encouragement for the Saladitos D-line that they can get the turns off the Swiss also.
Yeah.
Hey guys, can you throw? Because if you miss, it's going to hit this stuff.
Here's the pull.
Sails over our heads.
360. And put into play by Casamiglia. Now Schluter. Inside Hedstrom. Gives some don't stop instructions to Sani and leans into that throw. Stever to Casamiglia. And Hedstrom lays out, picks up the disc, and there's a pick called. That's unfortunate. That was a nice looking goal.
Yeah, he lost the sunglasses, but he held on to the disc. Someone will tell me he'll be a little bit unhappy with this one based on everything I've seen of him so far. But he seems okay with this one after a second or two. I didn't actually see the pick call, but
Casamiglia again.
Turn on that one. Defender just gets there first. See if Sunset Crew can get this up win now.
Smith pops one over to Seiler. Seiler to Fayev. Lead throw to Yaman. Chomping yards right now. Smith centers Fayev. And Achenbach gets a layout at a Seiler. Seiler sees the space. Nice looking throw. Yes. Enough to curl under for Lucas Smith.
Yeah, he had me a little bit confused with his jersey number there. He came over to us before the game and I decided to make a joke and try and confuse the other commentator. I've confused myself now, Stefan, what his second name was. Yeah, a little bit of tape work to fix up the jerseys. Better than some of the jerseys we saw on the stream yesterday for being able to identify
yeah, who's who and what's what.
Yeah. But yeah, again, upwind there, confident, some good play by them, and again, Swiss outfit looking good here. And again, first game of the day. We saw some good teams yesterday. I think the top teams we saw were with two American teams, and Sunset now maybe looking to go and try and put themselves into the mix. They've looked good so far. Maybe hasn't looked as I don't want to say sharp. It looks. But it looks like it could cause problems for the two teams I saw yesterday. So definitely showing that they can put themselves into the mix anyway. Because
beating Courier Island's one thing, but then to beat Mixed Remastered by the same score, 13-6, is quite impressive. I thought they have a good roster and played reasonably well to start their tournament. They beat Saladitos 13-1. As Saladitos make a play and then the throw gets caught by the wind. Buddha, as he's known, gets things moving. Kolstad goes back to Schneider. Schneider leads one around. Chavot into the corner. Chamorro to Chavot, and just in front of the goal line now, Sinner. Back to Schneider. Chavot exchanging in front of the goal line now. Shot for goal. That one is in and counts for one as Clara Chamorro adds one on.
Yeah, I think after seeing that one again now, I'm happier to move them in and say they're looking pretty much as impressive as the two top US teams I saw yesterday. A lot of these throws just getting low, lots of snap, making them look easy, which isn't always easy, and a lot of teams yesterday were maybe struggling to show that much like precision or like concentration on every single throw, and that builds consistency, and maybe that's what they need later in the tournament. If they can have maybe a really good game and they can avoid having down spells, they can definitely cause some problems for the I think it was Natsuo and maybe Rundown, I think were the two teams yesterday that I saw from their groups respectively that look like they're the most likely to go on and cause problems here. So Sunset here, I'm not sure who the other top team in their group is.
A handful of contenders, I still believe. There's of course Spangled, last year's champs. Chicken Packs, the other U.S. team.
Yeah, we have
Finland and Rainbow Warriors, the Finland and Sweden essentially.
Yeah, and we have.
Oh, look at that under.
Yes.
As the takeaway run through, but it is a accepted foul.
Yeah, and as we were saying yesterday, there's like 7 of the top 7 teams from last year are here again, and like you said, we still haven't seen 2 or 3 of the top teams on the stream, but all the top teams we're seeing on the stream are showing why they look like they're top teams. So
Saladitos maintain possession. That headband, I'm told, the green headband is the headband of power after you do something awesome, so perhaps that needs to be removed after the turnover.
I mean, it looked, you could blame the receiver maybe.
Yeah, receiver error. The headband of power does not make errors.
The disc got to the end zone in a catchable way if the player had seen the disc, but it may be just a miscommunication rather than a bad throw.
Back in the hands of Sunset Crew. Seiler waiting for a cut and gets one from Larov. Nice shape to that throw to find Yaman. And into the backfield again for Seiler to Larov. Hard underneath. Zinke leads in. Yep, that one right in. Larov with the goal. And Sunset Crew stretching ahead.
Yeah, I think that throw you highlighted there into the middle, it looked like a throw you don't normally see in games, but it was thrown really well, and like it was just basically a fundamental slightly outside in backhand, and I think that's what's really struck me with Sunset. I think the US teams yesterday is like they made everything kind of look somewhat easy and like almost carefree, whereas it's a bit different with the Swiss team here, where I feel it's like it just looks like really solid fundamentals in every spot, and it looks like there's no difficulties regardless of the weather, because sometimes you get a small bit of wind and it's almost more difficult because you kind of forget that it's there. If it's really strong wind, sometimes you know, okay, wind, I gotta focus, but this is the amount of wind where if you think you're a good thrower and you're not, you're going to realize very quick that you're actually not.
Quick lessons into play for Saladitos. And into the hands of Pierangeli.
No pause to let him get up today. They're going to stop this one officially. I enjoyed that trend yesterday where every time someone made a big play and they were on the ground, the force just kind of stood there looking at them for about 5 seconds waiting for them to get up rather than stalling. And I don't think it's an official rule at this tournament, but it seems to be the normal. The
honor rule.
Yeah, the only time I saw someone stalling was there was a bit of a chippy moment between 2 guys where there seemed to be a bit of a stall. And other than that, it's been we'll wait till you're on your feet before we stall. And
Saladitos move it to the midway mark. Fernandez goes back, gets a play out of Jacobson. Jacobson leads forward, and that one's knocked away. The long arm of the law, Eric Nelson, gets a touch on it. Picked up and sent by De Damalsis. And then Padilla sends and hits Nelson. Great throw by Padilla, and that makes it halftime to 1.
Yeah, very quick half there. And again, I mean, not much you can say other than the Swiss throwing into the right spaces to keep the flow going has just been on point. And they were here, I'm not sure how early they were here, but they were here early enough to do a proper good warm-up, and I think it's showing here that once you get those in and there's a small bit of wind, it's not too difficult. And I guess maybe with the Swiss, I forget, when I first started playing around 2010, a couple of the Swiss teams in the open division anyway were some of the top teams in Europe at the time, teams like Flying Angels and Free Speed, so it's no surprise that there's a lot of talent here in a Grandmaster's age bracket. So I guess we'll see when we come back in the second half if they can keep it up.
Oh my goodness, that is unbelievable. And created the tip and made for it.
That was absolutely incredible.
I worked for a Michelin star chef making gelato in Paris. I had my own restaurant in Nicaragua and a food truck in Australia. Why wouldn't you watch me? Check out my YouTube channel.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
And we are back for second half action right here on Porto Junco Beach in Villasimias, Sardinia, a wonderful town in the southwest of the Mediterranean island. Sunset crew all over Saladitos as per results-based expectations. I am once again Stefan Rapazzo alongside John Doc. Doc, is there anything Saladitos can do to get back in this, or is it just about finding a couple silver linings here?
I think just because of how good Sunset Crew have looked, it might be the silver linings. There's sometimes you just have to say the other team's playing good offense, and sometimes there's not a whole lot you can do. And the Sunset Crew offense just looks really organized. I believe they were here last year. I believe they're one of the higher seeded teams, so it's not even like they need to get used to playing together. And you can see here just how easy they made that score look. Is like, yeah, we could try different defenses, but like unless we're faster than them or we want to try a zone, but I don't think either of those are going to make a difference to what we're seeing. I think they need a bit of luck, and maybe silver linings wise, if they can just maybe get a bit more, just focus a bit more on their offense, I guess, because like I said, you can't always know your defense is going to be able to do much other than try and slow a team down if they're scoring quickly. But at least on offense, you always get to set the terms of how you want to try and play. So for them, I would say offensively here going forward, maybe try avoid the bottom spot in the group, get yourself a kind of crossover, and maybe playing for ninth might be the way to focus on this one, because the Swiss just look good here. There's not much else to say. It's just one team's clearly kind of better and they're playing better.
Yep, I think I agree with you wholeheartedly there. Silver linings it is, and that lands in. Nice pull. Calzamiglia to Hedstrom, who goes down to knees, fakes the backhand, puts it away. Now leads Sani. To Calzamiglia and Hedstrom. Hedstrom sees a opening back of the end zone, and the long arm of Schluter extends and collects, and they're on the board.
Yeah, she might be getting the green headband after that one. Maybe that's what they need to do for everybody. Play for the headband right now, the power band. That was a nice grab. It was a good throw, but I think she's probably one of the few females at this tournament who can reach out and grab that one without having to jump. She's pretty tall, and that was not an easy catch. Full reach grab. Made it look kind of easy again. So, and again, a nice throw. And like we said, the silver linings, that's one. They just struggled a little bit at the start, and if they could play all the role like that, it might be closer. But just the slow start combined with the Swiss consistency is why I think it's just very hard to expect a comeback.
The consistency.
That's it, yes. And we're going to know as well as they're going to be a little bit good at managing their time, obviously, so they're not going to give much of a chance of a comeback if things get close near the end.
Choppy. I mean, it's watchable, but it's choppy.
As the Swiss get back underway here again now.
Padillo goes to the man known as Buddha, Schneider, to Padillo. Padilla leads forward. Chamorro. And Nelson. Picked up by Chamorro. Popped into Padilla. Thought about forcing it in. Goes the other way. Nelson bids and claps it as he hits the ground. Nice finish to the play.
Yeah, and I think that kind of sums up a bit what I just said in the last point, where there's only so much you can kind of do on defense, and if the other team just kind of has the throws and can run it down, and I know it looked like a layout grab there, but that was a really well thrown disc into that space for his teammate to run on. And again, it wasn't like a massive layout, it was kind of just a high two-handed catch moving forward, somewhat full extension but not full extension. It looked a bit more difficult than some of the other stuff, but the throw, everything was right. They cut down the open side, and then they just put a difficult throw, especially when it's so outside in. It's even as a defender on the force, you're trying to stop the inside break, and then they basically throw a disc almost horizontally across the field at the start, and they can curve it back in. So just another really good throw in these conditions, and that's maybe sometimes the most you can ask for.
And the pull goes up. Saladitos, Stever goes to Calzamiglia, and Sani fills the space. Underneath to Stever, and gets another play there. Pierangeli to Calzamiglia. Sani. Oh, and just through the hands. And Sunset Crew going to get another chance to break here. Picked up by Seiler. And Zink floats one up. Liked his receiver, but Sani floods the lane. Gets the D. And Saladitos going to get a second chance at it.
Yeah, good to see him getting the block there. Good one. A friend of the booth yesterday. Determined to offer us drinks, but we were like, oh, professional job here.
No,
soft
we
drinks.
can't.
Soft drinks only, sir. Soft drinks only.
We couldn't possibly.
He said, find us later in the week. Find us later in the week. So,
big D by Gabriele Sani, EUF member for years.
One of the few Italians at this event, despite it being in Italy, I think.
Yeah, just a wonderful man. That one in the end zone, but Stever uses those long limbs once more. Calzamiglia wants Stever again, so she turns and gives the option. This is Stever, and this is Schluter. Schluter getting the high stall count, back to Stever. Over to Calzamiglia. He's using his disc hand to usher. I would normally use the opposite. Shoots, and just enough of a touch to knock it away. Larov cleans it up.
Yeah, I think maybe the wrong matchup there. I think they maybe want Schluter going deep again. She's been catching everything for them so far, and she has the height advantage there. And we've had a couple of call-outs of her catching the goals already. So when you're talking about things maybe to work on, maybe just you've got probably one of the best receivers in terms of just being able to just reach up in the sand, especially because jumping's so hard. So maybe they want to send her deep a little bit more.
Doc fixing tactics here for Saladitos. Underneath, Yaman can't hang on, and there she goes. Schluter in the end zone, but does get the gender defensive switch, and Stever takes the goal. And Saladitos back on the board.
There we go, yeah. Like we said, if they get the chances near the end zone, their female matching players are definitely capable of getting free anyway, so maybe the female matching players downfield more and the guys on the disc a bit more. And seems like most of their scores are being caught by their female matching players. As we see some of the other teams warming up in the background for the next round of games. Like we said, still another two rounds of group games for everyone, and then we will go into the pre-quarters later today, where it will be the second and third in each group will be playing each other, and then the final round of games of the day will be playing for seed, where the top seed in each group will have a crossover game. You don't always get that at tournaments, but a 4-day event here, they managed to fit it in and make sure everyone's going to get the right seed going forward into the final stages of the bracket. So that's a bit of a fun game to look forward to end the day. Two teams just playing for the higher seeds.
Shavu with the disc leads, and there's a double bid that almost got dangerous. I hope everyone's okay. The friendly fire, both of those bodies jumping into the same spot there.
Great hands by the female receiver there. I don't think her male teammate could see her, but she met that grab and held on to it. A lot of respect on that one.
Yeah, Kolstad and Chamorro trying to do the best defensive job they could on one another, despite wearing the same shirts. Chamorro overshoots, and no chance for the backup plan. Turnover to Saladitos.
First
Deep
break chance in a while.
Goes, and some space, and maybe not the intended receiver, but they do get the completion, and straight back to Fernandez, who was the original. Limo, hey, for the goal. The assist by one of our tournament directors, Nicola Boy, affectionately known as Limo. Wonderful human being, and showing there that he's a wonderful ultimate player too, with a nice assist into the end zone.
Yeah, nice to see them get the break there, and again, confident passes upwind after the maybe unfortunate turnover there by the Sunset crew on the other end after the bump. So they've got one, and that was, I would consider that, I wouldn't say it's upwind, downwind yet, but I would say that's the harder end zone to get the disc into. So you could argue if they could score that one, there's no reason why they couldn't go down here and try and get another one now going this way. And they do seem to have one or two of what I would have thought are there, maybe if they had an O-line players coming back on here. So I think their two female matching players are the ones that have been playing. So they've been getting most of the scores, and now they're out on a D point. So I feel like if there's a moment where they're deciding they want to try and make a little push, I feel like this looks like it might be the point.
It's push time. You heard it here first. John Dock's rules of pushing. And that one lands in the end zone. Yaman will pick up and get things going with Seiler, and then Five waits for a turn over pursuit on the defense. Zink had space for a moment, gets a big gainer on the up line to Seiler, and bang! Straight into the end zone. Daninger, the goal scorer. They take it to double digits, 10-4. Read you loud and clear.
Yeah, that one looked a little bit like tricky on the far side, but all those throws just straight up the line, and then the final one, the inside break, when the defender has to protect that open side corner. At least they made them not have all open side passes, but again, Sunset Crew looking confident on that one. So we're just admiring some pretty Italian themed jerseys behind us. I'm not sure which team it is.
They're like German.
German.
Yeah, young legends.
Maybe Spartans, maybe not Romans. I don't know. Don't want to mix those up.
Yeah, young legends. Do you understand the pun on that team name? Think of the divisions, Doc. You learned yesterday.
I'm having a temporary brain freeze here.
We have grandmasters, great grandmasters, and what is the 60-year-olds and up division?
Oh yeah, you said legends in the US.
So they are the young legends as great grandmasters.
It all makes sense now. I'm glad you pointed that one out. I think that would have taken me a couple hours to figure out.
We're there. We are there. Jacobson has the disc and sends a shapely backhand. I think it's going out of bounds, but now there's a chance. Greatest attempt, and I think it would have been good had somebody been there.
Yeah, it almost looked like he didn't believe he was going to get it, so he just kind of threw it so casually, but he actually did a pretty good job there.
Colmsio made the attempt.
We'll see where they pick the disc up from now, whether they decide it's there. Although, why would they walk back to the sideline?
Padilla to pick up the disc. The Spaniard from the Canary Islands, Puerto Ventura, now living Playa Honda. I loved reading his bio, his hero, Duke Kanamatu, one of the original swimmers who invented the crawl, an Olympic medalist, and a big wave surfer.
Yeah, and a big block there. Good pressure by the defender. Going to get another chance here.
Colmsio, the greatest attempt, gets that block, and now back to Jacobson. Can Saladitos keep things going? Foul called there. A little bit of backpacking accepted. Fernandez spins and is isolating at the wrong time into a double team up and cannot find. I think they just overcrowded, trying to help too much there.
Yeah, there's about 9 of the 10 players on the field there able to touch the disc, I'd say.
Padilla leads to Chamora. Back to Padilla. Sinner on the doorstep. Goes the other way, and Nelson is there wide open for the goal. 11-4, the current score.
Yeah, they're only going to get so many chances to score in this game. Again, the Swiss maybe not as clinical as they were at the start, but it's hard to keep that up for the whole game. And Saladitos there now going to get another chance to just try and get the downwind. Like we said, a game of maybe some silver linings. And again, I mean, you're here, you're going to enjoy the venue no matter what anyway, so you might as well push through for the entirety of your games. So I don't think they're going to worry too much about the scoreline or being downbeat about it. I imagine they're going to want to just keep coming out and try and get more points on the board. Sometimes in games like these, you can find one team, they just kind of give up caring when the game gets a bit out of hand. But I don't really get the vibe that that'll be the attitude of many teams this weekend. I think it's, especially at Great Grandmasters, you're probably playing with a lot of your friends for a long time. So just enjoying being out there, having some fun. I know it's a kind of a cliche thing to say, but I feel it applies more in this kind of division more than it would in the younger divisions.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right about that. There is, putting their bodies on the line at this age, they might as well find ways to enjoy it, as we see that
huge one
layout grab there. Big catch. And then followed up with a swing into Stever into the corner. Big play. Hedstrom made the layout.
Yeah, it might have been one of the biggest layouts we've seen. We were our view was maybe slightly obstructed here, but I was like, oh, that's going into the ground. And then I see him picking up the disc and nobody calling down. So huge layout to keep that one alive.
Here it is again. Oh, look at him. We just cut the tail end there, but big layout. Hedstrom. And then you see TD Limo. Nicola Boy set to pull. Here's another look.
Down. Oh, it's not.
Chariots of Fire. He gets the Chariots of Fire humming music out of me for that one in slow motion.
There now. He can just do a little edit and flip the scores and make it look like massive play and win a game. But nice to get a highlight as well. So like I said, there's plenty to play for. And he gets the headband. Like I said, play for the headband. He is wearing it now.
Hedstrom's got the headwear. And it is Sunset Crew with the disc, though. To Delmasis, got it forward. This one to Schneider. Schneider leads into a safe spot. Kolstad gets the reception and tries to get it off the line. Does find Schneider. Schneider sees a line to Delmasis. A beater out and trying to isolate one. Does get the isolation and the step. Kolstad hits his knees, has the goal, and Sunset Crew are one away from victory.
Yeah, another confident 0 point by them there. Again, like I said, maybe not as easy going as the first few points, but they'll be looking here to come out now and finish this one with with a break, get that slightly upwind. There's almost no wind now really. So, and the sun is getting to the right height, where you're going to have to start to have that nice beach weather now soon. So they'd be happy to get out here a minute or two earlier and go enjoy a bit of a soak in some rays on the side.
Can Saladitos extend this further? With the headband on the sideline, I'm not sure. I mean, the headband should get guaranteed play time, like PT.
I think he's going to be guaranteed the headband for a while, because I think regardless of what play is made in this point, it's probably not going to be enough to say I deserve the headband after that one. But
so potentially just not playing to get the guaranteed carryover of the headband into the next game. Calzamillo.
Maybe you lose it if you have a drop.
To Schluter. To Sani. He goes with the one hand there. That would make coaches nervous, but he does show the sticky fingers. Sends deep. Schluter the target and hits. Gabriele Sani proving he knows exactly what he's doing out there. Drops a dime, and Schluter collects, and you see the headband of power immediately passed over, and Hedstrom's respecting Sani's forehand there.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe after they'll have to do an MVP game and give maybe Schluter the headband. I feel she's got like half their goals. I think she's had at least 3, and been one of the best players on the field. And as she walked past there, she's taller than me. So like, on the sand, I wouldn't like to go up against her deep either. So like we said, positive things to take away from the game. They have one of the best probable receivers going deep.
Romanesque goes Sunset. Glad you're here joining us. Make sure you early morning viewers hit that like button. I suspect you're already subscribers, but if not, make sure that too. And we're just about at the end of the game here. Good opportunity for you to hit the join button and be a YouTube member with us here on ULTI.TV. Sunset Crew, can they put things away here? To Delmasis. Kolstad takes a good jab step. Now to Nelson, quickly back. Kolstad, nice movement here. Chamorro, and bing, bang, boom. In for the goal. Padilla is there to catch the game winner, but that was great offense to finish things off.
Yeah, if you want to leave a bit of an emphatic stamp on the last game and say, hey, we're contenders here. I think I was starting to lose that thought at one stage, but that last point reminded me of why I thought they've been one of the best teams we've seen so far. So if they can keep playing their offense like that for the rest of the tournament, they can definitely cause some problems and push for those potential semi-finals, final spots. So again, just a good first game of the day by the Swiss. Saladitos maybe a little slower at the start, but we're going to see probably both, especially Sunset. I imagine it won't be the last time we see them on the stream. They're probably not going to be in the pre-quarters later. They might end up topping their group if they keep this up. So
Saladitos showed signs of life in the second half. Great to see. And the Swiss carry on their winning form with some big margins. Love to see it from the Sunset Crew. Up next, we've got USA versus AUS. Chicken Packs taking on Kui down under. Then Saladitos will be back. See if they can carry their second half form into a win against Courier Island. And then Kui down under. The Australians will get their second kick at the can on the stream against East Side Stories from Germany. Everything after that, results dependent. Make sure you stick with us. For John Doc, I'm Steph Pazzo. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you all next time.
Did I give you space enough to waste every bit of ice? I can hear your thoughts loud and clear. You don't need to say a thing, my dear. Pretend that I'm not here. All I seek is some honesty. Straight up light in my darkest fears. I know you know, I know, yeah. You don't care about my life, care about my
Thanks. Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, ultimate.
ULTI.TV.
Me a hair thick skin, as I'm sure it would give in. I know you know